Hey everyone, this is Nidhi from Scribble Monkey Studios, and today I am here to talk about envelope addressing. I will be sharing some do's and don'ts, and I will also be sharing some tips that will make your life a little bit easier. This video is intended for beginners, but I hope that everybody gets to take something away from this video. So first things first, let's see what are the things that are required for the envelope addressing setup. Of course, we will require a set of envelopes. I don't have the same colored envelopes, so I'm using a couple of them that I have. We will need a guide sheet. This is from Logos Calligraphy. I know the situation is not good at all here, but we gotta make it work. The next is a felt sheet, and then we will use a laser pointer, and then definitely the ink, a drying rack, pencil, an oblique pen holder, a ruler. I'll tell you why I am using this, but this is something that I use. Washi tape, and then finally the address list. Now that we have an idea what are the things that are required for envelope addressing, we are going to see how the setup looks like, how the table looks like when we are about to address the envelopes. So the first thing is we put down the felt sheet. I tend to turn it a little bit like that because that's our writing position of the paper usually, and on top of it goes the guideline. And now I will grab the envelopes, and then with their flap side on the top, I will put them on my left side. Then I will grab my pen, put it right here. Then we will have a washi tape. The ink is usually on the right side. It depends with which hand you write. If you are a left-hander, then it probably should go on the left side. The laser pointer somewhere here, and then the drying rack goes right on the top here. You cannot see it, but it's right here, okay? So that it does not interfere with my writing, so that's why it's right on the top, so it's away from my hand's reach. Okay, then of course a pencil, and finally we will grab the address list. Okay, that will go on the left, so it's right here, it's on the left. Okay, what I usually do is to move the envelopes a little here. So I'm right now keeping it a little bit closer just so that it's in the frame, otherwise it's a little bit far away, so that I can adjust my address list much closer. Okay, then it goes a little bit more tiltier, and it goes here just like that. So that's the whole setup. These two will be used when I will start addressing. So when I'm doing that, I will show you the purpose of it. The pencil also goes along with the address. These are the things that are used here. Envelopes here. The drying rack is right here. The ink is here. And that's the whole setup of the table. One by one I will tell you the purpose of each thing now. So that we are clear why we are doing stuffs and we are not confused, why did she do it like that and not like this and stuffs like that. The first thing that I want to tell you is why I keep the flap side up. This is because when we are pulling out the envelope and addressing it, we are in a trance mode, sort of. We are not thinking much, we are just trying to finish off the job. We are trying to focus on the spelling, we are trying to focus if there is no ink splatter, and there are multitudes of things that we have to focus that we might forget. If we keep it like this, the addressing side up, then there is a chance that you will be addressing on the wrong side. So it may happen the flap side is down, you will just grab it like that and start addressing, and you will finally realize that you were all the time addressing on the flip side in the wrong direction. So once the flap side is up, there is no way you can make a mistake. You know that if the flap side is down, then you just need to turn it around like this, and if it is kept like this, then you need to turn it around like this and write the addresses. That is one of the reasons why I put the flap side up. Now let's see how the envelope is aligned on the guide sheet. Just take it, flip it, that's standard. Align it with the bottom line here and sort of center it with respect to this line. You don't have to be really accurate. And then what I do is, usually I use a washi tape and first of all I take a little bit of glue away so that the paper does not get torn off because of its tackiness. This reduces its tackiness. You can also use fiber of your cloth to get rid of the tackiness. And I just put it down here so that this is not moving. This envelope is not moving with respect to the guideline. Okay. So before we write, we definitely would like to put a new nib on the oblique pen holder, and I would definitely suggest that you go for a new nib. Another tip is that always test your nibs on the same envelope that you are going to write on. This is because every paper is different, so maybe in some of the papers the fibers might be much more looser, some might have a lot of tooth in it, so there are a lot of things that are different as the paper changes. So I would definitely suggest that you test your nibs on the same paper that you're going to write on. You should definitely ask for 15 to 20% extra envelopes because that will give you a lot of room to play around if there is an error. If you want to initially get into it and try your hands, warm up a little bit, then definitely you should go for some extra envelopes, and 15 to 20% is a safe place to be. Okay. So if by any chance you are wondering what this felt sheet is doing, then let me be just clear about it. It's so that when you're writing on the envelope, there is a cushion under it, and there is a little bit of give because of that cushion. The reason why I keep it like that is that your lines are much more smoother when there is a cushion under. And the second thing is that it's much more easier on your nibs, so the nibs are less prone to be damaged sooner if there is a cushion under than if there is nothing under it. Okay, so that is the reason why there is a felt kept under the envelope. Now that you are done with the setup and stuff, we will definitely start addressing. So I'll bring back my address list here. I'll move it a little further, and now I will show you why this is with me here. This is for a dumbass like me. This is because when I'm addressing, I tend to mix up the address. So if I am, say, working on this address, I might be writing the name from this address and the address line from this one. I can mess it up like that, guys. So what I do is I hide this one and I put one underneath. So now I know that this is the address that I should be writing and should be focusing on. Next thing is, I don't know if this is just me again, I have spilled my ink so many times that I had to make a resolution of not putting the lids either loosely on it once I am done, or if I'm taking a break, I used to kind of put the lid on like that and then move, not actually screw it and just put it like that, or I would just keep it open like this and go away and come back. And the careless that I am, I have spilled my ink so many times. So this is just a small tip that every time, even if you're going for a pee break, screw it tightly, leave the table, come back, unscrew it. It does not take a lot of time. It's just a matter of few seconds. Please screw your lid every time you're leaving your table. That's one of the smallest tips I wanted to give you. Before I sit down to write the address, I wash my hands with soap and water so as to get rid of any oil that's on my hand. You can have natural oils from your body. What I do is I just put a paper towel underneath my hand, so I can wash my hands and still my hands can be sweaty or oily. If suppose you are living in an area which is more humid and every 5 minutes you are sweating, then this is the best solution that you can have. You can just put it underneath your hand and then write the address. Okay. Now suppose you forgot to keep your paper towel underneath their hands and you have an oily mark. Here I don't have any oil on my hand. I cannot get any oil mark on it, but suppose there is an oil mark on the paper, then this is your savior. This is a corn powder pad. I got it off Amazon. Let me see if I can find the link. So I use this corn pad and you can just dab it. As long as the stain doesn't go away, it will absorb all the oil on the paper, and once you are convinced that all the oil marks are gone, you can just brush it off. I usually don't brush it off with my hand. I use a brush. I'll use this. Okay, you can just wipe it like this and then the oil mark is gone. So this is one of the other tips that I wanted to share. Now most of the times we have to write all day all night to get a particular order done within the time frame that is given to you, right? So if you're working on a dark envelope like this, then you will need a laser pointer, and if you have worked with this, you know that during the day it is so bleak, so light that it's not visible on the paper. So what I do is I put the blinders on in the whole room. Even if the window is not closer, I make the room darker. So I will just put the blinder on and show you. So this is the brightness of the, so since the batteries are really new, I am really glad to see that it's shining bright. Also it's cloudy outside, so suppose it's sunny and you have to use the laser pointer during the day, you will see the difference that putting the blinders on can make. So I'm just putting the blinder on and you will see how bright it is shining. So now you will say, hey Nidhi, but I cannot see the address because it's so dark. So what I do is I use a table lamp and I make it shine only on the address and not on my envelope. That's how I do it. Okay. Now that all your setup is ready and you are almost going to start writing the address, don't start addressing from the very first address in the address list. This is because initially our hands are kind of wonky, they are not stable, they are not warmed up enough, and you tend to make a lot of mistakes. You can have shaky lines and stuff like that when you are beginning the addressing. So if you start somewhere in the middle and then once you are convinced that your hands are warmed up enough, you can move on to start addressing from the first address. So this way, when the client opens up the box and looks at the first envelope, that is so beautiful, it catches their attention much more easily, and there is a wow factor when your first few addresses are like really brilliant. Okay. Okay, this is one of the tips that I wish somebody would have told me earlier. So when you're addressing or when you're writing anything with a dip pen, it's very important that your nib is always loaded with ink. Because I'll tell you why. So if you have less ink on your nib, then it's much more easier for the nib to catch fiber from your paper. If it is loaded with ink, then it is less likely that it will catch the paper. So this has saved me so much of heartbreak, because it has so happened that usually the nib is out of ink when I am towards the end of the address, and my last word or last number would splatter and my whole effort is gone into trash. So this is one of the points that you should remember, to have the nib loaded with ink every time you write. Dip it after every line that you write. Okay, since we are on this topic, then I should also tell you to wipe your nibs down, wash it with water after every 1 to 2 envelope. If the nib is if the ink is thick, if the ink is sticky and has a tendency to dry too fast, if you are living in a warm area, then also the ink will dry too fast. If it is so, just assess that when the ink is drying. It depends on the area, it depends on the ink and stuff like that. So if your ink is drying really fast, always clean your nib after, and wipe it down with water, clean it, and then again use it for the next address. Okay, so this is important. Why is this important now? This is because if there is buildup of ink on your nib, then your fine hairlines won't be that fine anymore. Okay, so it will be a little bit thicker, and this is one of the reasons why it is causing that. Okay, so here comes the big question of how to center the addresses. So this is something that we as beginners have struggled with, and have found our own ways to deal with it. So I will give you 4 tips that I use. The first 2 might be obvious, very obvious to you, but the next 2 might be new to you. Let's see. Okay, so the first tip is that when I am writing the first line, it usually starts with Mr. and Mrs., right? So what I do is, I don't add any flourish to the letter M. I just leave it like that and don't add any flourish here. And then I go ahead and write the whole address. Now I gauge how much space is left on both the sides. So suppose that the spacing is good enough and I don't need to add any flourish or anything here, then I just give it a ball ending to my letter M and just leave it like that. But if I see that the letter has gone beyond and the spacing here is less, but here it's more, then I add a large flourish depending on how much space should be left here. So that is the first tip. Okay, the second is, obviously, if you see that here the spacing is less and here it is more, you will definitely go ahead and add a large flourish here. Okay, so those are the first 2 tips. Now the third tip is to take cue from your, I have done a lot to hide the addresses. Okay, so what I do is I take cue from my center aligned address list. So because these 3 lines are center aligned, once I am done writing the first line, so this way you only have to worry about the first line. From the second line onwards, you can take cue from your address list. How? So suppose the second line starts right under the M. Okay, so you can kind of start somewhere here. You will know the ballpark area to start your address line and where to end, so that it is more centered. And the same thing goes for the third line. I always use the first line as the reference line. So if I am using a large flourish on the first letter, or I plan to add a large flourish on the last letter or somewhere, then I move it a little back here so that I can adjust or include that flourish as well in that particular spacing. Okay, so that is my third tip. Now the fourth tip, I don't know if it works for you, but what I do is, when I'm going to write an address, suppose I'm going to write Mr. and Mrs. Ricky, so I just write it in the air and see where it goes. So I just put if I start here, I just put a finger there, and then I go ahead and Mrs. Rickey or something like that. Rickey, Ricky, right? I said Ricky. So Rickey, and I see that okay, here the spacing is less and here it is more. So I'll just move a little further and write it in the air again. So until once I'm convinced that the spacing is kind of similar on both sides, I use that as my system to center the address. Okay, so that is my fourth tip. So usually we write the zip code right beside the name of the state, right? We kind of write it here. But suppose there is no enough space on the same line and you have to move down, then the centering can be a little bit nightmare, because not only you have to center it with respect to the whole envelope and the address, but also you will have to have even spacing between the numbers, right? So this is how I do. So suppose I'm going to write on this line. So what I do is I just put my pencil on this center line. So for that you will have to have this envelope placed on the guideline almost centered. So I can see that here the spacing is less and here it is more. So I'll just move it a little on this side and then I'll paste it there. Okay, so now I know that the envelope is center line with respect to the guideline, and then I will just draw an imaginary line and I will know that my middle number should kind of come here. I'm going to take this laser pointer off because it's difficult to see what I'm going to write. And now suppose the zip is same as that of mine. If it is 11773, so if it is 11773, this is the middle number. I will write the 7 here, right? And then I will leave even amount of space and write the first one here. I will leave exactly that amount of space and write the last number here, and then I will fill in the gaps. So that is how you can have even spacing between the numbers and also center line the zip code with respect to the envelope. Now finally, as you keep finishing one envelope and move on to the next, you are going to draw it on a drying rack, right? So let me bring into picture the drying rack. I will move this out, and now I will show you how to place the envelopes on the drying rack, so that suppose by any chance the previous envelope is not dried enough and if you try putting the next one here, there is a chance that you might smudge the one before that. So this is how I do it. So once it is done, I will place with the flap side down, because most of the times the address can come somewhere here. If it is like little big, then it can definitely reach to this mark, and you can kind of forget that and tend to smudge that when you put it down. So I flip it like this and then place it on the drying rack. So once you place it like that, what I do is I just tilt it back, and now the next one that is coming is going to be placed like this, but I'm not going to tilt it like this. I'm going to put it like this. You see, so because there is a little bit of gap, a V-shaped gap in between the two envelopes, this is not going to get smudged by the occurrence of this, by the placement of this. Okay, so now once I am done with the third envelope, I will push it back and then bring in the new one, and then again go on placing it like this. Now when this is done, push it back and then bring in the new one and place it like this. So this is how I prevent the smudging of the addresses once they are on the drying rack. Okay.
Warm up before you start addressing. If you sweat a lot, apply talc on your hands and forearms. If you have added too much water to your custom ink, then cover it with a cling wrap, poke holes in it and leave it overnight so that excess water evaporates. In order to make sorting easier, it's advisable to add numbers to both the envelopes and the address list. Here's some envelope addressing in action. You can take notes of a couple of things here. First, notice how I add large flourishes to ascenders only and small ones to the descenders. This is to prevent ascenders and descenders clashing with each other. Moreover, in the last line, notice how I add the ascender, the dot on the I and the crossbar on the T later. This helps me to maintain the flow of my writing and to spell check what I have written just now. Here's a clear example of how I have left the ascenders to be filled in later. Once you are done writing the address, check it off the address list for obvious reasons. The middle finger on which the pen rests tends to hurt the most and sometimes even gets bunions after prolonged writing. If so, use a small band-aid to cover the pressure point with it. Place the small padded area on the band-aid right on top of the pressure point. I am pretty sure that you are going to thank me later. It's advised not to wrap around the joint, it will interfere with your writing. Here I have placed two sets of envelopes side by side. On the left is one where the nib was fairly new. Notice how delicate the upstrokes are. On the right are the envelopes when the nib is pretty much worn out. The upstrokes are thicker than I want them to be. When this happens, it's time to change the nibs. Here's a side-by-side close-up of both of them. Do you notice the difference? Now, if you are new to envelope addressing and you are terrified of writing without a guideline, then you can use a Fonts and Porter mechanical pencil. The good thing about this pencil is that this pencil is very light on paper and is yet visible easily. Since these lines are so light, they may get rubbed off with your hands or fingers very easily. You have to be specially careful when you are writing the first few lines. What I do is I put a piece of paper towel underneath my hands. This way the lines remain intact.
I hope this video was helpful to you. If you think that my videos can make your life a little bit easier and that your calligraphy journey can be made much more smoother with my videos, with my helpful tips, then please subscribe to my channel. Please consider doing that and stay tuned. I will be sharing more tips, more ideas and more on calligraphy. See you later.